Hi, it's Anne. Thanks for stopping by. We're going to be working on a little pocket today, something that's kind of fun. Had some paper out and was experimenting, with different folds, and I came up with this that is not that unusual. There's lots and lots of these wrapped pockets around, but the way I did this one, it looked to me like the top of a wrap dress or a wrap top. And it just got me thinking about that little fun fashion feature. And I thought, why don't we do some pockets and kind of make them look like a funky, fashionable, classic wrap top. So anyway, I'm going to set this aside. And I'm going to show you how easy this is to do. I know I say that every time, but honestly, I don't do it if it's not easy. This is a square sheet, and this is 11 inches of fairly thin paper. Got a whole stack of that at the thrift store several years ago, and I'm still working through it. I hope it never ends. And I'm just going to fold it corner to corner here. The easiest of all folds. I'll get this out because I'll want this bone folder to get things nice and crisp. Then I'm going to line this up on my grid mat, and I'm going to fold down the top just about, so that from here to here on the y-axis, it's going to be about the height that I want the pocket. So I'm going to put it about here, and I'm going to want it as straight as I can make it. There we go. I'm going to need these later. And then I'm just going to wrap this way. I'm going to come right up to this little point that my first fold down came to. And we're going to be folding these things in opposite directions. After a moment, we're just establishing the fold. And there that goes. Good. Then I'm going to be snipping off the part that extends beyond this fold. And doing the same on the other side. It helps to kind of fold it there to see where your cutting line is going to be. There we go. Now I'm going to take this top flap that I could have folded it on the back to begin with, but there we go. And here is our fold. So now we just have to decorate it. The thing that makes it look like a wrap dress to me is that because this is open here, I enclosed it with washi tape. And that's what made me think that looked like, like piping or trim on a garment. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to do some stamping to decorate this. We're going to put on our washi tape. And one thing I'm going to point out that an actual wrap dress actually has, as you're wearing it, on the right side is going to cross over to the left. So when I do future ones, I won't wrap it this way. I'll wrap it this way. So let's get to stamping. And I'm going to tell you about a fun, part of my inspiration for this, once I realized that it looked like a wrap dress, was the famous Diane von Furstenberg wrapped dress that came out in the 70s. I never had a Diane von Furstenberg wrap dress. I had a wrap dress from J.C. Penney, but that was, I think that was in the 2000s because they came back. But they were always just so elegant and sporty at the same time. And I always thought those dresses were just, they just were so chic and so fabulous and just so wearable. And anyway, so I always loved the idea of the wrap dress and was glad I finally got one that before I retired I wore mine to work all the time in the late 2000s, early 2010s. For stamping here, I am just using just some circle stamps out of a set of label, this is kind of in a jumble, but these are labels that I use. I use these sorts of stamps all the time, and I thought, they would be kind of fun to kind of create a graphic print here. So I'm just using this navy blue and this kind of coral color, and I'm just going to randomly stamp. This is going to be the back, so I can go off that edge. There we are. And in thinking about the wrap dress, because I'm going to chit-chat a little while I'm doing this, right? Let me remind myself. Yeah, this is the side that's going to be on the top. I ran across on Hulu, like just this past week, a documentary about Diane von Furstenberg and the wrap dress, mostly about Diane von Furstenberg and her really interesting life. I sat here and crafted and watched this documentary, and it was just so good. But there was naturally a lot of time spent on this wrap dress and how she came up with it. Just a second, I'm going to grab another stamp for the back, for the inside of the neck. I'm going to use this background stamp. What should I use it's going to go with my blues and my corals? I might, let's see. I might just use the blue because this is going to be different anyway. So I kind of want to keep this focused on just a couple of colors. Anyway, this documentary about Diane von Furstenberg was just so interesting. I never really knew much about her background. I mean, I know she's been sort of a pop culture icon for decades. She was very big in the 70s and 80s during, that really rip-roaring New York City socialite scene. Again, things I know about just from afar. And, she's been sort of, yeah. I'm enjoying that. I could do some more stamping, but I think I might just leave that. I'm going to put on the washi tape, and then we'll see what we can put in it. Anyway, her background was so interesting. Her mother was a huge influence on her life, as many of our mothers are. I'm fortunate that my mother was a huge influence on mine as well. I'm going to put just a little bead of art glitter glue along here to convince that washi to stay in place. But she was born in Brussels, and her mother, well, Anne, this may not have been the best. surface to put this down on. What was I thinking? There we go. Anyway, her mother was a Holocaust survivor, had been, imprisoned in Auschwitz and, overcame all of those horrors to survive and to marry and to have a child, even though her doctor said she was too fragile. She shouldn't have a child, but she wanted a child, and she had Diane, who went on to marry a prince, and they had this sort of outrageous sort of rather decadent sort of marriage, but she had 2 kids that she loved very much, and has, sort of the consummate free spirit in the way she's lived her life. And I'm not saying that her choices are things that we all should aspire to. In fact, I think we probably would avoid many of her choices. But again, just a fascinating person, and very interesting thoughts on aging. She talks about why with people's efforts, to avoid wrinkles and to avoid the look of aging. She said, "Why would you? Aging is a wonderful thing. Your wrinkles kind of form, what did she say, that they form the map of your life or something like that." I wrote down, I don't have them here. I wrote down several of the quotes from the video, particularly with her talking about aging. And I'm going to put them on some tags and keep them with this pocket in a journal that I'm making too. Anyway, I recommend this. It's just new. This Diane von Furstenberg documentary on Hulu. You can see what I'm doing here. I'm lots of jibber jabber, but I'm just putting the washi down halfway over this edge, and then I'm encasing this opening here. There we go. Anyway, so I was excited to have found this kind of kicky little pocket, and I was excited to learn more about Diane von Furstenberg. The name of if you get Hulu, the name of the documentary, I believe, is Woman in Charge. What an interesting businesswoman she was. She's still going strong. As is her husband. I was just reading about him in the New York Times this morning as I filmed this. She's married to a guy named Barry Diller, who's been a entertainment mogul for decades, and is, I think he's 82 or something, and is making a bid to purchase Paramount Pictures or something like that. I don't know. I don't follow the ins and outs of the business world like I used to when I was actually in the business world. But anyway, DVF, Diane von Furstenberg. Interesting woman, interesting designer, interesting feminist icon, and creator of the wrap dress. It looks like I need one more stamp down here. I'll make it a coral one. There we go. I'm not certain that this one really needs any inking, so I'm just going to kind of glue up the open bits. And I guess I'll start here at the bottom. Make certain I have this going the right way, because I want it opposite from here. So this one, yes, this one goes in. I went back and looked at her wrap dresses to make certain that I had things going the right way with the one that I was going to make on camera. And this is the right, this is the correct way. But she was inspired to create this. She just made like little shirts, little wrap tops. This was in the 70s, inspired by ballerina dancewear. She saw, ballerinas wearing these wrap leotards, and she thought, oh, that'd make like a really cute T-shirt. And so she, designed them in jersey and sold them, and they became quite popular. And then she saw someone wearing them. Actually, it was Julie Nixon, Richard Nixon's daughter. Who knew? But Diane von Furstenberg, saw Julie Nixon on TV wearing one of her, Diane von Furstenberg's, wrap tops with a matching skirt, and thought, oh, it'd be the perfect dress. And so, in the 70s, there's our little pocket. That is cute. What shall we put in here? This would be a cute little pocket to go in there, kind of repeating the circle theme. That's totally by luck. Shall we put something in the front pocket? Yeah, let's do that. There we go. There's our little tribute to DVF. Let's make another one. Let's try one that already has some pattern on the paper. And let's see, let's try this one. Here's kind of a large size book page. I don't know exactly how this is going to work, but we'll find out, won't we? We'll do our famous trick creating the square by just folding one corner in. I've got a little gap there, but that's okay. All right, now get this lined up, and I'm going to make this, I want this fold, it does determine how tall the pocket is, but it also determines how wide the pocket is. So let's go about like that. That looks straightish. So our pocket's going to be this wide and this tall. And then we're going to fold in. I can always, if I don't like the way the type is going, the text is going, its direction, I can fold things over again. Fold up that. This is just a right angle here, and I'm folding it in as far as our top little fold. And see this where the tatty edge is, that isn't going to matter at all. And there we go. This is going to be a little pocket. That's rocket science, isn't it? Explaining that this is going to be a little pocket, as if you didn't know that. Okay, now we're going to fold this on the back. And I could glue this, this is flappity right now. I'm planning on putting it down on a book page, so I didn't bother to glue that down. But if you were sending it in Happy Mail or something, of course you would want to glue that down. Flip off that end, and maybe it'd be easier to do it this way. Yeah, there we go. Now let's look and see what kind of flexibility these folds will give us. This does let us see this outside text right side up, and I do kind of like that. It's upside down up here. Not worried, not worried. There we go. And this is going to go to the back. Okay, let's look at some washi tape. We could, I kind of tried to choose things that had bold graphic prints because that was kind of part of the DVF that is part of the DVF aesthetic with her prints. You know, she's such a tiny little person. There's just something really fabulous about her wearing these big, bold prints. And you think, wow, that is a woman in charge. Her documentary was aptly named. And we'll want to do some trimming here, of course. You could use a fabric tape here. You could use just a strip of paper. You could just glue these pieces together and then glue a strip of paper. But I do think having that trim does give it a tailored look. Something that makes it look like apparel. And I think I am going to ink this one. I don't think DVF would go for the grungy look she was all about. Yeah, I keep saying was. Maybe because the wrap dress itself is past tense for me in my personal collection. Again, mine was not a DVF. It was a JCP. But I loved it nonetheless, and I wore it for years. It was a summer jersey dress in navy blue and coral, which I think is why I chose these colors to do stamping there. I enjoyed that dress a lot. I don't really miss, in fact, I don't miss at all corporate wear. Because I was at a corporate headquarters. I had to dress professionally every day. And I don't miss high heels. I will tell you that. I enjoy the casualness of retired life, even though I've continued freelancing and such. But yeah, I do not miss the dressing up. But I was just thinking what fun the wrap dress was. This is cute and simple, but this one does need a little ink. So let's grab our dauber. You could do some more stamping, a little decorating on this, but I'm enjoying honoring the clean lines of the DVF dress here. And now I'm going to go back and find my little open spots. Well, there we go. Get a little bit of art glitter glue in there. And so this shows you how you can do this with a book page. And it may or may not make, the person looking at it think of, apparel, but it might. It might. One, oh gosh, there were so many interesting luminaries that were interviewed in this documentary. Oprah and, just all manner of interesting people. How about this little fish? What if this little fish fit in there? That would be cute. That would be cute in a journal. How are we doing on time? Yeah, we got time to make one more. Anyway, these luminaries this one is a little bit bigger. These luminaries that were in the documentary were, I know I'm switching back and forth. I've just had a fair amount of coffee this morning, so. The conversational ping pong ball is going back and forth rapidly, I'm aware. But some of the fashion critics that were, talking about the influence that Diane von Furstenberg had on fashion with the wrap dress. Talked a lot about the dress itself just being easy to wear. You know, it came about at a time in the 70s where, you know, women didn't during that time there were plenty of women in business that, you know, had felt like they had to wear the power suits and all that. I was lucky by the time I got into corporate life, the era of the power suit was happily over because, you know, the big yeah, that just was an unfortunate fashion era, I think. But the wrap dress was something completely different, and it just symbolized, you know, the woman that was busy, didn't want to take a whole lot of time, you know, to, you know, have lots of structure, wanted to throw something on and go about her day, making things happen. And oh, now here's a little hack. When you fold this in one way, I'm sorry, you probably can't see those edges. Fold this in one way and then fold it over. You get a little fold there that you can cut on. There we go. And anyway, when you look at the dress, it does have that, you know, just that ease of, you know, I just wrapped something around, and almost like a very elegant bathrobe or something like that. Not quite, but all right. Here's this one. I'm going to fold this back. And is this too much plaid? I think that might be too much plaid. I wonder if I should take a scrap here and fill that in. Yeah, I might do that. The world's most imprecise measurement there, but all I'm doing is just putting a patch on top. And this paper's kind of thin, so I'm showing a little bit of that plaid through, but it's still, yeah, that's still okay. Glue stick. Anyway, I loved hearing people talk about this fact that the wrap dress, it was influential not only as a you know, a beautiful and very practical piece of fashion, but also for what it represented. And DVF herself, you know, she has the, you know, the big frizzy hair, you know, she never went in for the hairsprayed helmet, overly coiffed look. There just was nothing careful about her appearance, or at least that was that's what she would want us to believe. She's very careful, I'm sure, about many things about her appearance. But there's a look of that she didn't have to work too hard at this. I am wondering if we might want to do a different kind of trim here. I was thinking a book page might be kind of interesting. Do I have, yeah, I have book page around. I'm gonna grab, oh, here's some. Yeah, I thought I had a little left over from another project. That's not a DVF style big graphic print, but I think it could be an interesting trim here. And what I'm going to do, just for something different, is to glue these two edges together. Certainly you could leave them open if you want an extra pocket, but since this paper is fairly thin, I wanted to double that up. Anyway, there's, if you have Hulu and you're interested in history of fashion, women's history, it's worth a watch. Diane von Furstenberg, Woman in Charge. woman in charge of the wrap dress, that's for sure. And, you know, there's old footage of her being, you know, interviewed back in the 70s, even from, you know, like David Letterman and such, where you can see she, you know, she just wasn't taken seriously as a business person. And just the misogyny is, you know, it's just irritating. It's just, well, it's more than irritating, but I'm going to fold this over here. So it's kind of fun how something like a junk journal project can lead us down the path of reflecting on interesting things about our culture, isn't it? There we go. This one is going to be the inside one. This almost turned into a bit of a mass make here, didn't it? You can see how that would be easy to do. And just a little bit of glue here. These are so nice and substantial. I think they might be fun to fill with little goodies and pop in an envelope and mail to a friend. You could do that. I could do that. Oh, I'm only just decided because this paper is thin, I would wrap around that edge. And because these are inked, I can get by with a little bit of inkage here on the top. Got a little bit of glue coming out there that catches on that ink. So it's a little bit crunchier than I would normally like. Oh, yeah. There we go. Anyway, these are almost as free and easy as putting on a wrap dress itself. So if you feel like channeling your woman in charge, make one of these. Make a bunch. There we go. An unexpected turn for a craft project. Put all kinds of little fun things in there. An unexpected discovery, at least it was for me, just folding a bunch of paper randomly and realizing I was coming across something that that was fun to reflect on. So I hope you have fun reflecting on this too. Grab a square of paper, start folding, and start thinking about the ease and elegance of the DVF wrap dress. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you soon.